It's always big news when Jack White resurfaces, you guys, with a brand new album coming out on March 23rd and a brand new tour beginning April 19th in Detroit. Please welcome back to the Kevin and Bean Show, our pal Jack White. Hey, Jack.
Hello.
So glad to catch up with you. We've missed you.
Thank you. I've missed you too.
I feel like you're working the night shift at your record pressing plant. And you just don't have time for the rest of us anymore. You're rolling up the sleeves and making that vinyl. And
It's true. It's a busy world, but I'm lucky to be so busy.
It is crazy that you opened up that plant, and I know we got a lot of stuff to cover, but I was just so fascinated because was this the first new vinyl plant in America in decades?
It was, yeah. It was the first. Well, it wasn't the first new plant. Like there's plants that have opened that have used old equipment, but it was the first plant that had opened and used all brand new equipment. All the machines were newly made, newly constructed. They weren't old machines from the 50s or 60s that had been refurbished. So that was a bold step and sort of like a dangerous step. We were kind of a guinea pig for a second. But it's just amazing to have that as part of our thing. It's amazing to be able to, press our own records into everything from it's very DIY to the max.
Well, let's talk about how else you've been spending your time. 4 years between albums is a long time for a guy who's as prolific as you are. Has it just been you work on it, then put it down for a while, work on it, put it down for a while, or has it just been nonstop for this whole time?
Well, I picked up rock climbing and mountain climbing, and when I say that, I have never actually done it.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of photographs of it, and it just looks incredible to me, like the way people can hold on to those rocks and climb higher. Uh-huh. So I'm hoping one day to get
good.
All
right, true or false, the story we hear is that you almost randomly picked musicians out that you had never worked with before, got in a room with them, just started playing, just to see what would happen.
That's true, yeah. I did that in New York and L.A., and I hadn't recorded really in either of those cities before. Never worked on my own stuff in any of those big towns. So that was first for me, and then it was to work with a lot of musicians I'd never even met, let alone I'd only seen them in video clips. I was just looking through and asking people. I think asked in New York I asked Q-Tip who's the best drummer in New York, and he said Louis Cato, and so that was good enough for me. And on, it went on like that. And it was just like it could have been a big disaster. I was well prepared to show up and after a day say, it's just not working out, man. We tried, but it was wonderful. Everyone was absolutely amazing. Got incredibly lucky.
That's such an amazing story because I in my mind, I think there's so much chemistry involved in making music together. And a lot of times the best stuff comes from a band because they already know each other, or musicians who have played with each other before and they can anticipate what's happening. But this is the opposite of that, and it sounds like it was just as successful.
It's almost, it's good. It's almost, I would say it's probably better that you don't know each other in a way, because there's this energy in the room where you're trying to feel each other out. You're trying to impress each other. You're trying to speak a similar language and get somewhere new. So it's different than say, making music with somebody you've been in a band with for 10 years, because you're very comfortable with those people. So you're less likely to do something dangerous or uncomfortable or something new with people you work with a lot. You've got to really push yourself to do something new with people you're comfortable with. So I like that uncomfortableness. It's nice.
Did you show up with songs or skeletons of songs or nothing?
I did both. So skeletons of songs and loops. I had done drum beats as loops, and I asked the band to play along with them. I'd give them a chord or a chord change, and they'd play along, and then we'd get somewhere new. And I would go out and write a little bit with them and say, "How about we do this?" So just attacking the song from 50 different directions to see if we could get someplace new.
That's so interesting. We're playing Connected by Love, of course, here on KROQ, which is a great song. I can't urge enough that people go immediately and listen to Corporation, which is one of the strangest songs I've ever heard you involved with, Jack. And to me, it sounds like it came right off of an early 70s funkadelic album.
Yeah, man, it's wild. There's a lot of different vibes going on in there. There's some real punky kind of lyrics, and there's some gospel kind of backup vocals, and some hip-hop drum breaks and funk, and definitely a funk feel, like you were saying. So it's a combination of a lot of ideas. I mean, I didn't write these ideas down. I was like, we're gonna try to combine these things. It just started to happen naturally, and I just got out of the way.
How are you going to take this and put it on a stage? You've got so many ideas, so many different kinds of music on this new album. You're going to feel like playing a lot of it. Is it going to be tough for you to make it work live?
It is. It's the toughest songs I've ever rehearsed. We've been rehearsing them, and it's incredibly difficult. Some things can't be reproduced. We have to sample them, trigger a sample on stage, which I've never done before. So, that's no big deal. I mean, most bands and artists out there do that nowadays. I've never done that, so I'm getting used to that idea. That some of it's triggered, some of it's going to be absolutely live. It's going to be a mix of electronic drums and acoustic drums on stage, and it's an incredible territory to play around with and get someplace new for myself.
We were just saying, man, the people who are lucky enough to live in cities that Jack White will visit are so happy right now.
Well, Jack, when we got your schedule,
they know I'll be gone in a couple hours. They're happy because I'll be gone in a couple hours.
Well, when we got your schedule, I'm scouring. I'm like, all right, San Francisco, awesome. Santa Barbara, great. San Diego, great. Wait a minute. What? I
don't see a Los Angeles.
I don't see a lot of Los Angeles in that little clump.
There's more to come. There's more to come. It's sort of like, you can't really do it the way, if I had my druthers, I did it 100% the way I wanted to do. I would definitely, there would be a route I would have been doing for 20 years, but the sounds I love. But what, now the festivals dictate your schedule completely.
Sure.
You have to work around every one of those festivals and book shows in that way. And, sometimes if you're playing a festival in a certain town, you can't play a show. They won't let you play a show. So you have to come back later and do your own.
That makes sense, yeah. All right, before we let you go, we have Jack White on the phone here on the Kevin and Bean Show. And again, no date yet, but Jack will be in California in August, so fingers crossed something opens up. But you mentioned the festivals, and we have been noticing, there are more festivals than ever before. And every week we go on KROQ and we talk about some new festival. So few of them are like Boston Calling, where there's a bunch of rock acts, including you, I think. Most of them are like Coachella, where it's hard to find rock. What's going on, Jack?
Yeah, man. I mean, rock and roll needs an injection of some new young blood to really just knock everybody dead right now. Like it would be. I think it's brewing. It's brewing, and it's about to happen. And I think that it's good. It's always good. I think since rock and roll's inception, every 10, 12 years, there's a breath of fresh air and a new injection of like some sort of what you could, I guess, call punk attitude or something like that, a wildness. Things get crazy, and then they're crazy for a couple of years, and then they kind of get subtle, and then you got to wait for the next wave to come through and get people really excited and screaming about it again. And I think that's we see it at Third Man all the time. Like a lot of young rock and roll acts, and I can tell in the last couple of years it's definitely different than it was 5 years ago. So I can tell something's about to explode again.
Well, your lips to God's ears. I hope that's true. We are waiting for it, and we're waiting for your new album, Boarding House Reach. Comes out on March 23rd on Third Man Records, you guys, and you can look for the Jack White Tour going all across the country, all across the world, opening up in Detroit on April 19th. Always great to have the opportunity to catch up with you, Mr. White. Thanks for the time today, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Bye now.